Welcome to another episode of our Beyond the Numbers interview series, where we speak to Valley leaders about what advice they have for themselves if they could go back, and why they love accounting. Today we're speaking with Heather Krupa. Heather is VP Controller at EPCOR USA. She has a special guest at home today, Sebastian, so you may hear him in the background. He may jump on Heather's lap during the interview as well. But we'll talk about that a little bit at the end of Heather's Open. So are you ready to get started, Heather?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so if you could go back to when you were a staff or senior accountant, what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. Couple of things I think of is, one, persevere. Two is it all makes sense at the end.
Okay.
And three, take time to self-reflect and self-review.
Okay.
So as I've grown through my career, in looking back, I just, you notice kind of I wanted to be the first one done, right? So I was really efficient and I'd get everything done and I'd turn it in. And then I'd have a million review comments, right? Okay. And so it was really, it took me a while. It really did take me a while to learn to self-review,
Okay.
And have that sense of, you don't have to be the first one done. Accuracy holds a little bit more value than not. And then in that, along with kind of the perseverance, I think when you first come out of college, you don't have all the answers, and sometimes you're afraid you should, have them all. When you do things hard, you can go to things that are easier. But if you've had it easy your whole life, it's really hard to do hard things.
Yeah.
And so as an accountant, in going through the Big Four and working the 80, 90-hour weeks, right?
They don't work that much, right? They work less, right? Just good PR there. Sorry.
Yes, but you push through the hard work because there's a reason for it at the end.
Okay. No, so that makes sense. So just to kind of recap, you've had like the perseverance,
Yep.
Not having to be the first person to turn something in.
Yes.
Right. Because
Yep.
if you do, like you said, you might get a lot of review points, which again, you have to persevere through the review points and not take them personally and not think everybody's out to get you just because they're giving you, the constructive feedback there.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it all aligns with perseverance though too, but like just pushing through and
pushing through,
pushing through, right?
Yeah.
And continuing, right? So and seeing the bigger picture. I think that's another piece of all that too, is just really seeing there's an end in sight. You don't have to always do the 100-hour weeks, right? Like, and those are far and few between, trust me. But but it is, and it's keeping yourself accountable. I like how you mentioned, the review comments. That took me a while to figure out too. I mean, I was probably 6, 7 years into my career before I was like, review comments are a good thing, not a bad thing, right? Stop thinking and taking them so personally. I took every review comment personally, right? Because as right out of college, like, we don't have families yet, right? So what do we have? We have our careers, right? That's what we really latch onto. But we can't take it personally still. Even though we spend a ton of time there, we're still doing a good job.
Right.
And so yeah, definitely understanding that review comments are a good thing. Right. Not a negative. Okay. And then someone else looked at it. So now it's not just on you. So if it is wrong, you have a shared partnership with someone else that has also done maybe something and missed that read, right? So it's just personal accountability.
Okay. All right. So next question then, why do you love accounting, or what value has it added for your career?
Yeah. So it's really funny. I was not your typical 16-year-old, and I at 16 had a 10-year plan that I was going to be an accountant. So I knew, I was going into accounting, right? Okay. At the time, Arthur Andersen was one of the big 8. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna graduate college, I'm gonna go work at Andersen, and then I'm gonna go on and be a CFO of a company, right? Like, so that was my grandiose plan. Andersen obviously imploded. And so it changed a little, but I still worked for the Big Four, right? So I was 𝗬𝗏 right out of college. And really, I think for me, accounting, so about 8 years ago, my husband got an opportunity to move to the Valley, to move to Arizona, from the Chicago suburbs. And honestly, I knew I could find a job anywhere because I had the accounting degree, and it's the other reason I looked at accounting even, a few years ago, right? Let's not date myself, but a while ago,
right.
Was because it is a counter-cyclical position. So as the economy does poorly, you need accountants more, right? As Enron happened, right? In the fall of that, the collapse of the financials, the tech boom bubbles. I mean, so many things that I've seen in my lifetime.
Right.
The accountants actually have been needed more in those times, right? So the crash of the early 2000s, right? Around the mortgages, all those enticed and implemented new controls, more rigorous controls, more oversight around companies and things. And who are they hiring? Accountants, right? Because we can dig into the numbers. We can understand forensic accounting is a huge thing that's not talked about a lot, but that's needed too, right? And so it's more, and it can be more than just audit. It can be more than just the day in, day out journal entries and reconciliations and everything. I always suggest, I had this benefit, again, I talked about it, as kind of what I would give to my older self, right? My younger self is take the opportunities that are put in front of you to explore different avenues of accounting.
Okay.
Don't go into accounting just thinking that, oh, I have to only do audit. Oh, CFO is the only path for me. Oh, general ledger accounting is the only path for me. I think as an accountant, we can be so dynamic and do so many different areas of focus. It's amazing. There's so many different avenues in which you can go down. You can work for a big corporate company if you want. You can go work in government if you want. You can go shoot, the FBI hires accountants, right? Like you want the cool job where you get to carry a gun every day. Like you can be an FBI agent, right? Like they want that. They need that, right? Because accounting, like you ever hear, I watch all the crime shows, totally guilty of that, right? But what do they always say? Follow the money. And who's following the money, right? It's the accountants, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have some pretty sexy accounting jobs that we could be searching for too. It's not just, mundane and drab. But if you like being behind a computer, there's that too. I feel like accounting is probably one of the most diverse careers that you can have. It sets you up with a foundation that, do you want to go run your own business? Great. You know how to. You know exactly what it takes to make good money.
Right.
Do you want to go be a CFO and guide other people's money? Great. You can do that too.
Right.
You want to go be a personal advisor, right? Yes, finance is a key to it, but without the accounting acumen and how taxes work and how a person might be taxed in the future, what is a finance degree, right? So there is a lot of different areas of opportunities with accounting. I think it is probably, obviously I'm a little biased because I am an accountant, but outside of that, I do think it is one degree that can be actually used everywhere you go.